It is now streaming.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, welcome, board members and those other folks that'll be with us and participating in this meeting, and all those that are checking in. We're doing this again by live stream on YouTube, and that allows you to see the meeting. Not only that, but also one of the important things in our board meeting, we did make a way to have public comment as part of our normal meeting. And so we would invite you, if you have a comment to make, and let's see, where is it? It's just, where is that? The email address is comments@pageud.org. And we will read those comments if possible, no later, and you have to have it in no later than Monday by 5 o'clock. We do have a set limit of 3 minutes for every comment. And so we will pay attention to that. But again, comments@pageud.org, no later than Monday by 5 p.m. the day before each regular meeting. So we're going to call this a meeting officially to order at 5:02.
Thank you.
And so thank you again very much. And we'll start this meeting off with a roll call. And Chuck, would you start us off with the roll call, please?
Chuck Weiss here.
Thank you. Another board member, Sandra?
Sandra Kidman.
Okay, very good. And Dee, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah,
There you
Dee McCary.
Thank you very much, Ms. McCary. Good to see you. So that's, and I'm Bob Candelaria with the president of the school board, and also with us, Superintendent Wallen. Would you go ahead and acknowledge yourself?
I'm
Thank
here.
you. Good to see you. And then also joining us is Lynn Hoffman, executive secretary to the board. And it's good to see you all. And okay, so the next part of our meeting is the moment of silence. Please join me in that. Okay, thank you very much. And Dr. Terry Maurer has been volunteered to lead us in the pledge. And Dr. Maurer, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and
and
to
to
the
the
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Maurer. Appreciate that very much. And we have an agenda, and the first item is the approval of the agenda. I'll need a motion and a second to move on.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A
I
second.
second that motion.
Okay, Chuck will thank you for the second. All in favor, say aye and signify by raising your hand. Aye.
Hi.
Thank you so much. I will say that we did have a note from Ms. Desiree Fowler, and she's on the way, and she'll sign in sometime during the meeting. So we'll look forward to that. Next agenda item is announcements and comments. Is that correct? I think that's what we got. And we have a statement. Oh gosh, Desiree is not here. So do we have someone that can read that? Do we have that online for someone? Sandra, could you take a look at it?
I can read it. Yeah, the announcements and comments.
Yes.
Hold on, it's just pulling up. Maybe.
I'm sorry?
I was like, welcome to Page, Arizona. My internet is not very fast.
Oh my, okay.
Goodness. Well, if you have somebody else that's ready, mine's just, I don't know why it's so slow.
And I don't have that up either. Lynn, could you possibly?
Hold on, I think I'm here now.
Oh, Okay, good. Are you there?
Oh, gosh.
So sorry about this. Could we have?
I can read it.
Okay, would you please?
Yes, a copy of the consent agenda is available at the district office. And oh, I'm doing the wrong one, aren't I?
Yes. Announcements and
Um,
comments.
Okay. Sorry, my internet is just going very slow.
We're having fun with that, aren't we?
Okay, public complaint concerning facility services, personnel, and instruction are not heard by the board until the district's due process procedures are followed. Forms for filing complaints are available at the superintendent's office. To address the board, please fill out a blue card and give to the superintendent. The board reserves the right to limit public comment due to time and restraint.
Okay, and that is a 3-minute restraint, I guess. And once again, in this time of COVID and distance, we're receiving comments at pusd.org. And so thank you for that. And I do have several. And so I'm going to go ahead and read those as in the order that we have them here. And so I'll be patient. We'll read through each one of these. We appreciate all of you who have commented and take the time to thoughtfully comment to the board. And so the first one is January 26th, dear PUSD board. Thank you for your service to our community. I know making decisions are not always easy. I ask that you let the parents make it easier for you. Please allow parents to decide what is right for our children. The PUSD stood up an online classroom okay, well, I'm reading it just as it is. Sage and sand for the parents that want to keep their children at home. Now allow the rest of us to choose what is right for our kids. If you don't want to listen to parents, see what the experts are saying, and provided are several links for the board members and for Dr. Wallen and our staff, and they are listed there, several of them. If not for our children, then the financial implications for our district are also at stake. I know the school district has already lost millions of dollars from parents enrolling their kids elsewhere. How much more money can the school bleed? Respectfully, Levi Tappan, father of three PUSD students. Thank you, Mr. Tappan. Next one, January 26th. Good evening, board members. My name is Katrina Sisk, and I currently have 2 children in school. My daughter is in her senior year, and my son just started middle school. I've seen 2 very above average kids, one in gifted, go from excelling to barely keeping themselves from failing. At home, learning is a mistake. Please let our children back in the classroom. Katrina Sisk. Thank you, Ms. Sisk. The next one, again, the 26th. If masks work, why are the students not in the classroom? Kids need to be in classroom full time. Too many cons for virtual. Teachers teaching from home while their own children are running around and interrupting class. Internet is off and on. Students not having the one-on-one with teachers when they don't understand something. Students not getting the socialization they need. Students being marked tardy for being a minute late, but teachers don't seem to be held accountable for being late to class or for not even showing up at all. And I don't think it's right for teachers to be giving their opinions on politics or the virus. My daughter's math teacher told the class he doesn't feel comfortable teaching in the classroom if the students don't get vaccinated. My daughter was pretty mad. He sounded like he was trying to push it on them. Not everyone feels comfortable getting a brand new vaccine. Please feel free to email or call with questions. I hope for the sake of the children of our future, we get them back to some kind of normalcy. That from Sheriff Priest. The next one, I currently have 3 kids enrolled in the Page Unified School District. It has been extremely difficult having them online as my husband and I both work full time. Their grades are suffering, and I do not believe they are getting the same education as they would in person. I really think 7 hours a day on a computer is too long for them. They aren't engaged and are losing focus. I really hope we can reconsider in-person learning. Thank you, Robin Mansker. to whom it may concern. I'm writing this in regards to my concern about getting our kids back in the classroom. The kids are not even affected by this virus, number one, and number two, the consequences of the kids being out of school are way more dire than the virus is to these children. For the people who do not want their kids to go to school because they're concerned about the virus, let them stay home. I'm sure the teachers can get vaccinated, and if not, let the teachers who are also concerned about the virus teach from home. There are other solutions than just completely cutting these kids off of school. This is taking a serious toll on my daughter, and I hate watching her sit in her bedroom alone with a computer all day long. The last thing these kids need is more screen time. Sent from Holly Shopman. Thank you, Ms. Shopman. I think I'm able to get this one in 3 minutes. We won't keep it that tight, but here she goes. To whom may concern, I'm perplexed on why our children are not back in school over a virus that has 99.7% survival rate, even higher percentage with children. This is insane. We can go to work, the movies, the bar, restaurants, crowded stores, malls, preschool, and private schools. Yet the most important of all, especially for our children, absolutely no public school. I'm getting very frustrated over this. Now the teachers are trying to get our donations, yes, for a good cause, but I won't be donating anything to the school until my children are in class. Which brings me to another subject I'm struggling with. How do you expect us to give back every little block, crayon, and marker you have given us for children to use over the last year? This is a very high expectation from little kids and mothers who are already struggling to keep their house clean, let alone are able to keep track of every little item you have provided for our children. I have even tried to give the things we do not need back so I don't have to reimburse the school. I was told no, that I have to take them. You'll get back your iPad and computer. The rest I cannot promise. I'm very close to pulling my children out of PUSD. Do not feel like the time our children are in class is being used efficiently. I feel like there's a lot of downtime for my kids, a lot of breaks, waiting other children to take tests, et cetera, et cetera. If Paige doesn't get their act together and our kids aren't allowed to go to school in the classroom and we are continuing to be forced to homeschool our children, I'll probably be pulling them out. Not only a better curriculum so they can learn, their grades will go back up and their time online and on screen will be managed more efficiently. So many parents have lost their jobs, their way to provide for their family because we are being forced to homeschool children. Lucky for the teachers, it hasn't affected their jobs. I know several families who now struggle because they were forced to choose between their children's education and providing for them. What a choice to have to make. I've considered moving out of Page so kids can get good education, socialize with other kids, which is equally as important for their health. The level of maturity that is expected from our children at their young ages is absurd. And it goes on with some very compelling points. And so in essence, from Demaya Halliman, I believe, just really advocating to get the kids back in school. This one, greetings to the school board, Superintendent Wallen. I would like to take a moment to share my thoughts on the decision to move to a 7-period day for the high school and experiences have previously taught in a district that uses this schedule. Prior to teaching at Page, I taught in a small town in Oregon. We utilized the 7-period day. Having been part of that system, I can tell you that there are numerous benefits that will occur as a result of PHS moving to that schedule. As a fine arts teacher, I've seen that daily exposure to music is essential for students as they practice and improve their skills in musicianship. Playing an instrument is a physical activity that requires breath support and the use of muscles in their face. Our current schedule of 90-minute sessions every other day is hard on students' ability to play, and as the class period goes by, students become fatigued and the quality of the music suffers as a result. On top of that, music is a class that requires daily attention. Students are taught to practice daily at home, and their rehearsal atmosphere should mimic that philosophy. When students do not have music in a daily capacity, their retention is lower and their musicianship suffers as a result. While teaching Oregon, I saw the benefits that daily exposure has to the various subjects my students were learning. I saw my students daily. It allowed me to form more meaningful relationships with them, which in turn allowed me to deliver a better quality education. My students made greater daily improvements on their musical abilities, and our program grew and flourished as a result. Students placed high consistently in solo and ensemble competitions and attended honors events. As a teacher, I have personally seen benefits of 7-day period schedule yields not only in the music classroom, but school-wide. Students maintain the information they are taught and can more readily access that information the following day. As an avid district, we teach focused note-taking as part of the skills students are taught to interact with the notes they have taken within 24 hours. An all period every day schedule yields that same benefit of interacting with the information they have been within 24 hours instead of 48. This increases their ability to more permanently retain information. I strongly support the high school's move to a 7-period-a-day schedule. Teachers will be able to form more meaningful connections with the students, which will increase trust and as a result bring better clarity of instruction to the classroom and help to drive learning forward as we strive to become a B school district. Thank you for your time and consideration. David Johnson, Band Director, Avrid 11. Those are the comments we have. I will make one statement as well. We did receive a long letter that we could not get even close to being able to read that in the 3-minute period. I did get back with Mrs. Peterson, that's Jordan Peterson. Thank you very much for your comments, and asked for a condensed version for the board member purpose. And again, I did say that I try to summarize your thoughts, but I will not do it justice. So I'm asking your forgiveness, but get the condensed version in and we will certainly read it. Thank you so much. So those are our comments for tonight. No others. Lynn, no others, correct? So we're good. Okay. All right. On to special business. And this is recognition time. I like recognition time, as we all do, as board members and as administrators and teachers. It's awesome. Thank you for participating, first of all, and especially the families of these kids who have really shown in this environment. And that's saying something, because as we've heard time and again, this virtual environment is tough for everybody. And so it's our honor to recognize, first of all, Page Unified School District Employees of the Month. They make it happen for us here at Page Unified, and they, as well as anybody else, just are prepared so when kids come back to school at some point in time. But so the recognition will be done by the honor to Dee McCary tonight. Miss Dee, are you ready? Okay. So we're holding for just a minute. Do we need to go on to the students, or are we going to be okay?
Can you do the students first?
If that'll be okay with Mrs. Kidman.
Okay. I thought I saw Desiree join, but is she gone again?
Oh, let me see. Let's see. Mrs.
I
Fowler.
don't know. I don't.
Yeah, she was supposed to in your pinch hitting. So Mrs. Fowler, I don't see her on there yet either.
Okay. I can do it. I
Okay.
was just, I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. So.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to start out with
Yes.
Lakeview Primary. And the student
Is
of the
it just the
month
one?
at Lake. Can you hear me?
Hold on one second. Lynn, you're going to have to mute her. Yeah, there you go. All right, good. Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Kidman.
Okay. The student of the month at Lakeview Primary is Rory Begay. Rory was nominated by her second grade teacher, Mrs. Ricey, because she's an amazing student. She comes to class each day prepared and excited to learn. She is kind and cares deeply about her peers. She takes on every day with an open attitude, which helps her build her knowledge and investigate new ideas. She listens well and eagerly shares her thoughts in class discussion. She truly radiates positivity and is a role model student. I am proud to call Rory my student of the month for January.
Oh, Rory, way to go. That's awesome. Congratulations. And along with Mrs. Ritzey, we're very proud of you too. Just keep it up.
All right, student of the month at Desert View Intermediate is Aiden Delmar. Aiden was nominated by his teacher, Mr. Serventi, because he has been a positive influence in the classroom, always interacting with his teachers and classmates during online lessons. He's very good at getting all his classwork turned in, which is quite challenging sometimes.
Indeed.
My kids struggle with that. When others need extra time To take notes in class, Aiden will type in the notes in the chat without being asked so they can have the notes to work on their asynchronous assignments. Aiden is very encouraging to others, and it is a pleasure to work with him in class. I look forward to seeing Aiden successful in his school career and in his career after school. Whatever he chooses to do, he will give it his 100% effort.
Man, Aiden, we're really proud of you. And I saw a Super Bowl commercial, and you reminded me of that because these lemons were coming down and spoiling everybody's party, and it was really about a commentary on 2020 and kind of continuing 2021. And Aiden, you're the kind of guy that gets a lemon and makes lemonade, man. You're all about it. Thank you so much.
Okay, now we go on to Page Middle School, and the student of the month at Page Middle School is Oslin Begay. Oslin is a 7th grade student and was nominated by the middle school counselor, Nikki Clark. She currently has no absences and received straight A's last semester. Also last semester, I'm reading Mrs. Clark's comments now. I was subbing for a teacher and she was in class with her camera on, and she was great about having her camera on at all the time. So congratulations to Oslin, student of the month at Page Middle School.
Way to go, Oslin.
That brings us to Page High School. Page High School student of the month is Stephen Kelly. Stephen was nominated by Mrs. Rachel Wilson because he is an excellent student. His excellence shows both through the quality of his work as well in the way as he carries himself during class. He's always ready to answer and to participate in discussions. He challenges his classmates and is willing to help them out when they struggle. While these class qualities can be difficult to maintain during remote learning, he demonstrates them on a daily basis. He earned a spot on the honor roll the first semester of the school year and is maintaining perfect attendance. Thank you, Stephen, for being a great example of the Sand Devil way.
Man, you grab a hold of that honor roll and stay on it. Stephen, great job.
Manson Mesa High School now, student of the month is Ronald Smith. Ronald was nominated by his teacher, Joanne Gonzalez. Despite bad internet connections, he has remained in contact with me and turned in every paper packet of work in order to keep up with his classes. So congratulations and good job beating that internet. So
keep it up, Ronald.
And then we come to Sage NC Virtual Academy Student of the Month, and that is Roxanne Blake. Roxanne was nominated by her teacher, Spencer Kimball, because she has good attendance in her class and has shown steady improvement. She has worked harder throughout the month to catch up on her work and asked the teachers to help reteach work. She did understand. The quality of her work has continued, and congratulations to all the students of the month.
Roxanne, great job. And we're experiencing a little bit of that frustration that all of you experience on a daily basis and with the cutout of the sound and those kind of things, but we'll plow on. Thank you, Ms. Skidman.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you for pinch hitting tonight. Next up is we'll go back to the recognition of Fayette Unified School District Employees of the Month, Mrs. D. McCary.
Yes, good evening. It's my pleasure to share with you our Employee of the Month coming from Lakeview Elementary. Her name is Rena O'Neill, nominated by Julia Redmond, first grade teacher at Lakeview. Rena is full of energy. She is light and shine all the way across the school. When Rena starts talking, everyone smiles. She is fun and lighthearted. She knows how to perk up all the staff meeting and make our coworkers laugh. She encourages those around her. It has been a joy to teach with her. Coming to the new school year, Rena was nervous. She's not the most technological inclined. She was worried that she would struggle. After a few overwhelming first days, she decided to change her attitude. She began to celebrate every challenge that she overcame. She started to do her own research and taught herself over the weekend how to do all the things she was confused about. She came back excited for distant learning and has done an awesome job. She would be proud of how hard she worked to overcome this challenge. Hooray, hooray. Good for you. I know how technology can be a struggle. The second employee of the month is coming from the music teacher, David Johnson. We'd like to recognize Joanne Gonzalez, a librarian at Page High School. Joanne is an incredibly hard worker and is always there to support the high school teachers. She is helpful, courteous, and willing to bend over backwards to make sure that the high school teacher administrators have what they need. She often goes over and beyond what is asked of her and always has a smile. She deserves nothing less than the highest recognition her dedication. Recently, the high school guitar program received new guitars for its students because they were purchased as part of the JOM funds was necessary to inventory and tag the guitars. Joanne immediately was willing to help me accomplish this task. Not only did she help me tag them, but she went over and beyond by helping to continue to tag and mark all the cases in the guitar while I returned to the classroom to teach. Because of hard work and dedication, when I returned to finish the job, it was completed and the guitar were ready for distribution to the students' way. I had a schedule that allowed us to quickly get instruments into the students' hands. Joanne's dedication to students and staff is incredible, and she deserves nothing less than the highest praise for all she does for our school. Congrats, Joanne.
And let me just add, thank you guys so much for really demonstrating great attitudes in the midst of hard times. And you're the folks that really make it roll. And so, Rena, thank you so much. And Joanne, thank you so much. Okay, I really appreciate that. Thank you, Ms. McCary. And we're going to go ahead and go to the next item, item C, donations made to the district. And I believe we have none. Oh, I take that back. We do have one. And I'll go ahead and read that, and then we'll need a motion and a second to accept. We received a check in the amount of $250 was made by Terry Simmons to replace a broken device for a student. Thank you so much for that. This is an action item. I'll need a motion and a second to accept.
A motion.
Okay, thank you, Chuck.
Yeah, I second that motion.
And thanks, Dee. And all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you so much. And thank you that's a massive need. You saw something that's right in the wheelhouse of what is really needed. And because we have a whole bunch of devices out there, but thanks for the donation. All right, we'll start with board reports, if you will. And who wants to start us off with reports? Anybody have anything? Dee?
I pass, no.
Okay. Anybody have anything?
I'm just gonna want to thank our teachers for teaching our students remotely. I know it's been a struggle for everybody involved, for teachers, parents especially, and students as well. And I'm glad to see that we have some light at the end of the tunnel. And I wanted to thank also all the people who wrote us emails regarding the schedule, and as well those who addressed the board with their comments. It's greatly appreciated.
Yep. Yeah, thank you, Ms. Kidman. Mr. Weiss, anything?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay. All right, very good. I'll just echo exactly what Ms. Kidman had to say. Like I said, just stay with us. I know it takes a lot of patience, and patience has been running thin. When that happens, then character takes over. And so we start helping one another. And so, again, I appreciate our staff. I appreciate the parents. You know, it is a tough journey for sure. But I will also say I've been really excited. Had the opportunity to be on the soccer field on Saturday. I thought, wow, this is great sunshine. What can we do? And a parent jumped up and said, hey, I've got an extra ticket. And I said, man, I got an extra lawn chair I can take out there. How's that work? And so we got to have the really awesome opportunity to see the Lady Sand Devils win a region game against River Valley, and that was just absolutely fun. And this is off. How come it's ringing? I need a 16-year-old somewhere, a 12-year-old to help me out. And then it's been really a real fun thing. There was a challenge, and now we've gotten a couple broadcasts under our belt for Page High School basketball, and that's really been awesome. Thanks to Mr. Alnizi for producing that. We have a senior from Page High School that's doing all the camera work. That's his son, and we appreciate Jaden. And then all the work that was put in by our tech staff, and again Steve Law and Brian and some of those folks Ernie Rivers, workhorse, because he gets that thing ready to go. And it's been a lot of fun. I get to do all the fun part. I just get to do what I normally do, sit and talk. And so it's just a blast doing that. And again, it is live. So, and tonight the Sand Devils are down at Camp Verde, and they're playing a couple ball games, and both teams are rolling. So it's just really fun for us to be represented that way. And every time I start off a broadcast, we talk about how we miss our 3A North folks. All of our teams that we don't get to see this year, Chinle and Window Rock and Monument Valley, Tuba City, and all those guys, because there is nothing more exciting than being there with those teams. And so I'm hoping they're getting an opportunity to support the Sand Devils, even though it's against their grain, but I think they probably do. So again, thank you very much. Superintendent Wallen.
Thank you. Outstanding. Yes. And we're going to, what is it? The Tony Awards is for announcing. We're going to nominate you so that you can get in there. But just wanted to say, again, thank you to all the teachers. What a tremendous job they're doing under these adverse circumstances of the virtual learning and how that's working. But I also want to point out that February 16th, students are allowed to come back to school. And we're prepared for that. That is really, really important. That virtual learning will still be there for those who want to stay home, but also there'll be virtual learning in the classroom. But getting kids back on campus is going to be exciting. Just going to the basketball games and watching just changes your whole heart. And I know that teachers are standing. I met with a group of teachers last night. They're ready for the kids to come back, and they're getting more prepared every day. Just some really important things. Our goal when the kids come back on the 16th is to have no spread, have no COVID at school. And because of that, we have all kinds of mitigation strategies in place. Every kid's going to come in to a check and go through a temperature check and a screening, and then move on to his class. But some pieces I want to emphasize quickly is the use and layering of strategies. And by layering, there's some strategies that we're putting on top of each other to, again, get more protection. Masks are number one. Everybody will be required to wear a mask. And now there's some stuff coming out from the CDC that says maybe you should wear 2 masks, or maybe you should wear 3. There's not an order or a direction. It's just saying that's always helpful. And so we've got plenty of masks ready to go. Social distancing to the extent possible. And of course, when you load onto the school bus, you load from back to front, families get together, and that's called cohorting. Hand hygiene and respiratory etiquette is really, really important. I was telling some people today that hand hygiene is going to dry out your hands. So when the kids' hands get chitty, they're going to need some lotion. So we may have to go get a few gallons of lotion for them to be able to do that, because we don't want them running around with chizzed hands all day. So
okay, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. You said chizzy?
Chizzy, yeah.
That's got to be a Navajo word that I don't know. So you're going to have to help me out. I'm Belagana.
That's chap.
Oh, chapped. Okay, chizzy. I like that. It reminded me of something that I eat. So I just wanted to make sure what it was. So thank you, though.
Yeah. Cleaning and
Can I
disinfecting.
ask a question?
Uh-oh. We're going to get out of here. I started the point of order bad, but yeah, go, Mrs. Goodman.
Okay. You're talking about hand washing, or are you talking about hand sanitizing, or are you talking about both?
Both. Hand hygiene
Okay.
would be hand washing, and then
Okay.
hand sanitizing. There's all kinds of models of sanitizer all over the place.
Because I was going to say hand washing would be the best strategy, and
Absolutely.
that is much, much milder on the hands than sanitizer. So
Yeah, but we're also got
Okay.
sanitizer all over the place.
Okay,
which is
I was
gonna-
double checking. Thank you.
Yeah, which is going to get chizzy hands and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're not
But
cheesy.
a real important piece of that is don't pass that lotion around when you're putting it on your hands. Do not share lotion. So cleaning and disinfecting, contact tracing, we'll be working on that if we have to. We've got that set ready. Cohorting will be work K-5, where kids will be moving in groups based on their classes. 6-8 is more difficult because they go in different directions. Be sure to check your student in the morning before they come to school and have them stay home when it's appropriate. Shared objects is big. So if you have any of those bottles of little, what are they called? I apologize. I can see it in my head. Where you pull out a cloth and it's got some alcohol on it or something. Be sure to wipe everything. So be really careful about shared objects. No visitors. If you're going to visit the school, you need to call ahead and get there. Ventilation, we were talking about that today, making sure and checking the ventilation and looking at that. And then water systems. We have water systems that are being installed. They're water stations. We at one point we're talking about getting every kid a water bottle, but then that goes to sharing. So I think we're telling every kid to bring their own water bottle and go to the water station and do that. So those are some of the things on top of the things to make sure that we're going to be as safe as possible for our kids. I was in a Navajo Division of Education meeting today on their latest numbers, and they've got 28,000 vaccines arriving tomorrow. So they're going to continue their vaccine surge. And we have groups going to Tuba City, I believe, tomorrow as well to get their second shot. So we're up to almost 90% of our staff have gotten their first and or schedule for their second shot. So we are ready. February 16th is going to be a great day. And we want to continue on and we want to continue on so that we don't have to retreat back into virtual again. So that'll be just everybody working together and being committed to it and training the students to be committed to it. So parents, it relies on you to make sure that your kid comes to school safe. Make sure they come to school with no sniffles and that kind of stuff. So just that, February 16th, we're ready to roll. Thank you.
Great. Superintendent Wall, thank you so much.
I do have a question regarding the topic.
Well, let's see. Are we going to be discussing, you're talking about COVID and stuff? Do we have
Just regarding what Larry was just talking about, is that okay? Or
Yeah, go ahead.
so regarding back in classroom, just for parents and students, for their awareness, are the kids going to be bringing their own lunch to school and water, and also the responsibility for the sanitization of their desks?
No, we have all that in place. Lunch and breakfast and lunch will be served. They'll actually, when they get to the school site, when they go through their first checkpoint, they pick up their lunch there and go on to their first class, and then lunch is served in the cafeteria. We're also working on trying to open up the playgrounds a little bit, and that causes us to have to sanitize the playground equipment. But we know that being outside in the fresh air is a real positive mitigation strategy that we want to use and do that. And then they bring their water bottle and they can go to those water stations and get water that way.
Okay, good. Thank you, Chuck. And we do have a COVID item on the agenda, and so if you've got any other things, we can save it for that point. So thank you, board members. Appreciate it very much. Desiree Fowler, I see you. You're somewhere out to the south of us, I think, and you're all wrapped up and may look nice and cozy, but good to see you. Did you have anything that you'd like to report on?
Definitely. I did attend the BOLT conference, which was a virtual conference. A lot of great information pertaining to virtual meetings. And I just think that if you get a chance, take advantage of this opportunity to attend not attend, but virtually view the BOLT's conference, the BOLT's training. So I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of great information and a lot of things, that were brought to my attention. So I did share that with Lynn and just kind of maybe be more cautious about how we respond to comments and also to the virtual part. And I felt like it was very important for me to be very transparent when I'm on my Zoom meetings, because sometimes where I live, I don't have a good internet connection, so it'll automatically take me off. So I am parked right now, so I'm making sure that I'm well attending the meeting. But thank you, I appreciate it. And then I also did meet with the native language and coordinator, Lionel. So just kind of got some good information there and what he is doing with the program, and also having him to participate with the chapter houses. And he's got some great ideas that are coming forth. So I appreciate that. But that is all I have.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that very much. All right, let's go ahead and move on in our agenda. The next item is the consent agenda. Do you have access to the statement, Mrs. Fowler?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment.
You have it memorized, though. I'm just kidding. I'm putting you on the spot. I'll go ahead and read that if that's all right. Copy of the consent agenda is available at the district administration office. All items listed will be considered as a unit by the governing board and will be approved with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items unless a board member requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. The consent agenda needs a motion and a second to approve those items. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Chuck.
I second that.
And thanks, Ms.
I
McCary.
make a motion.
Okay, we're having a hard time here. Which
The
one would you like?
consent agenda?
Which one would you like to remove? Sandra, I didn't hear hear what you had to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think there's quite a bit of lag. I was just
Yes.
trying to make a motion and then I was
Oh.
trying to second, but I have
Okay.
but I
Thank
think
you.
the lag made it all confused. So
No, we're good. We're good. We got the second. So thank you very much, Ms. Kidman. And the second was by Ms. McCary. And so all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda as we move forward. Hold on a second. Okay, where am I at? Oh, additional agenda items. No, we got something. Calendar of events. Am I right? Item
Yep.
number 7. Okay,
Yes.
sorry about that. So the calendar of events, you have been given kind of a copy of some of the events that is coming up. 15th of February, no school, and not very many things on that agenda. So any comments to the calendar or notes? Okay, no, very good. Item number 8, additional agenda items. We'll start with the Page High School schedule for 2021-2022. This is an action item and need a motion in a second.
Motion.
Okay, thank you very much. Need a second?
Second that.
Okay, McCary, thank you very much. All right, Ms. Martin and Superintendent Wallen.
Thank you, Mr. Candelaria. You know, this is a really important piece of information that you're going to be talking about and making a decision on. And I want to say that it's a schedule that is going to provide a pathway to a B school. And it's going to provide that pathway because it's going to be heavily focused on equity. How many of you, which ones of you went to the equity conferences and have been into the equity training? I thought a couple of you had. Yeah. And what that equity,
previously, yep.
Yeah, what that equity is about. Equity is about the opportunity to address the inequities that our kids are facing. And so, for example, just think about it. You know, on a 7-period schedule, I'm going to see my teacher every day. I'm going to go home to my parents every day. On an A-B schedule, I'm going to see my class every other day, or could be even every 48 hours, depending on what that looks like. And it's going to make it much more challenging. So that equity is going to give equal access to everybody. It's going to give opportunity, equal opportunity, and it's going to give outcomes that will impact our achievement profile. And I know that Ms. Kidman asked the question when we were doing some of the talking about, well, what's going to be different this time going to a 7-period class? What's going to be different is I'm here and that Ms. Martin is here. And we have a curriculum that is solid based on standards, and that requires kids to be in class every day because the standards are based on a schedule of weekly or sometimes 10 days, but usually 5 days of training. And that's what's going to make a big difference. And you heard in the comments that Mr. Candelaria read about forming more meaningful relationships, being able to deliver a quality education because kids are there every day, and being able to track those kids every day. Where if I'm a teacher and I'm teaching today and I don't see the kid tomorrow, I don't know if I'll see them Wednesday because if it's a snow day or something else comes up, I'm going to miss that kid. So it's going to increase the opportunity for teacher-student connections. And that's going to be a big piece. So that equity and access, opportunity, and outcomes is really what this schedule is going to provide to our kids. And then I'll let Ms. Martin make any comments that she wants to.
Thank you, Superintendent Wallen. Good evening, board members. I just wanted to take some time to highlight some of the points as a follow-up from our discussion on January 26th regarding the 7-period schedule. So part of my responsibility as a leader of Page High School is to allocate resources to ensure academic achievement of our students. And this responsibility calls our school to evaluate how our instructional time is allocated. It really calls us to evaluate our learning conditions. In order to implement learning conditions that both deliver our agreed upon curriculum and provide a system of interventions, we need to meet with our students more frequently. Students need a schedule that guarantees daily practice and instruction. Students need a schedule that allows for the implementation of routine assessment and feedback cycles. Those practices are research-based best practices. Those practices are what holds up the professional learning community that we work within here in PUSD. And it is a fidelity to that system of a PLC that yields improved student achievement. And there's a clear design. It's called the PLC framework. And when implemented, we can deliver focused instruction, which leads to improved outcomes for our students, specifically in reading, writing, and math achievement. This implementation does require our organization to transform. That was discussed at the board study session. And we know that transformation requires change, and change is difficult. But change can be more manageable when we strategically create the conditions necessary for change to be realized. I believe the teachers and staff here at Page High School are working hard to create improved outcomes for our students. A schedule that is set up to provide routines, continuity of learning from day to day, with a priority on reading, writing, and math achievement will support their hard work and efforts while increasing student achievement. This same schedule can still allow for robust CTE programming and electives. And this same schedule can still allow for students to experience release time and internships. My desire to improve academic achievement is great, and I share that desire with the other educators here at Page High School. Academic achievement, like musical excellence or athletic excellence, requires daily practice, consistent effort, and discipline. An everyday schedule, or 7-period schedule, aligns to adolescent attention spans and allows daily access to the core learning, increasing the frequency of exposure to material for all students, and overcoming educational gaps that can occur because of absenteeism. An everyday schedule, a 7-period day, will create an atmosphere focused on increased academic achievement, while still giving students access to college, career, and community readiness opportunities. I thank you for your time and being able to go through some of the highlights from our discussion on January 26th.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Thank you, Superintendent Wallen. Board members, anything you'd like to
I have
add?
a few questions.
You bet.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Is there still, does it look like there's still quite a lag?
No, you're doing well.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I just want to clarify a few things
Ooh.
because look at the attachment with our box. Look, we're all on the same, that we're going to a 7-period schedule, correct? That's the proposal, right?
Yes.
And that 7-period schedule will then allow students to earn how many credits over 4 years total?
So credits over
20.
4 years would be 28 options, but in the
28 options, okay.
right, but we had talked at the study session in looking at the course handbook that there would be a transition to the 22 is what we would propose and bring back to you guys to review for policy on graduation requirements.
Right, because we would want to make it fair for everybody, correct?
Yes,
So,
in fact,
I noticed in the hand.
Unfortunately, Ms. Kidman, we're kind of losing you. You've been doing pretty good, but I think our system's not helping us a whole lot. So could you just repeat that just in response to the 22? Ms. Kidman, can you hear me?
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes.
I can hear you, but there seems to be quite a bit of lag. So I apologize for that. No, I was just saying, I noticed in the course description handbook that we have new requirements for graduation for every cohort, which is what we did last time as well. So that seems fine to me. I was just gonna double check that the possibility for credit is 28, given the 7-period schedule. And then I was just gonna ask if we are gonna align our class times with the middle school so we can share teachers
Yes, because we will need
for
to be
their
sharing,
schedule.
especially if we're going to build our music program and arts program up, we need to be able to share.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kidman. Any other board members have any comments, questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I just want to know about the timeline. Is there somewhere in my reading that I didn't find the timeline for implementation? And
this would be for next school year.
okay, so you still have plenty of time for, I think we were talking about student input, meaning have they expressed any kind of desire of the change? Because it does take time. And I haven't seen any kind of survey, even from your teachers.
Correct. I have plans to meet up with our student government to talk. I meet up with them quarterly, and this will be a topic, not necessarily the specific schedule, but the things that we are promising to our students as an educational organization and the feedback that they have for us. That's kind of the frame of our conversation quarterly, is what can we do to uphold our promises to our students. So that's planned for this quarter as well.
Because change takes some time and we need buy-in even from our parents. So I'd like to see a little bit more of their input because, it has a lot of impact on, their children when they come to school with these new plans that, we're proposing. Like a little bit more input from the teachers on, I think I had asked that last meeting if you had any kind of setback by other teachers. You got some. How many have a buy into the idea of these changes, and then also the students.
We know that change goes through a process, and the first part of that first step in the process of change is storming. And that's when everybody tells you everything that's not right or not working. The second step of that change is that storming then turns into norming. And then that turns into putting it in place and making it work. Or forming, I'm sorry, storming, then forming around the initiative. So that's where we'll be in the forming stage now, taking this together and putting it in place and putting in the operational procedures and the implications of that. So it's storming, forming, and then norming was when that's the way we do business at Page High School, that we're on our way to a B school and on our way to high academic standards.
Ms. McCary, anything else?
No, those are my concern, the parents and
Right.
the kind of work that we're doing with them, because it's going to impact, what about all the way down to middle school? Are they aware of these new changes as 8th graders are moving up to be freshmen, of these new scheduling that we're talking about? What input have you had even from the junior high?
So we work with the middle school for pre-registration. So they are aware of this discussion that's happening, will happen on January 26th, and is happening right now. So they're aware of it. Their schedule they run is like a 7-period day. So it won't be a large change for the 8th graders. They will be familiar with that type of learning atmosphere and everyday instruction and practice.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCary. I'd just like to say a couple things, and again, just want to make it clear that these are big decisions, and the board is not what we had done in the past that has really helped in terms of gathering information is create a work study environment so that we could gather all the information that in this instance Mrs. Martin could bring and her staff. And it wasn't just Mrs. Martin coming up with it. She put together teams, and that's what we heard from at our work study session. And then we've had plenty of opportunity to go to her or Superintendent Wallen or even to those teams to say, hey, here, this is what we got. And so I do really appreciate it, and all the work that's gone behind that will continue to go, Ms. Martin, and to all your staff. And what we were getting from you, as I understand, was the wisdom of the staff at the school. And so I do really appreciate that. And just a little bit of history. I've been on the board, as has Mrs. Kidman, when we were in block session, and we went back to 7, then back to block. And each case, and I don't want to downplay this at all, because it's really important. You can always hear this is all evidence-based, and with whatever argument you want to make, because you can always pull that information out. But for the students that we have we always have to, I think, really understand our demographic and understand our students. And at this point, the reality of it is we have most students will benefit from the day-to-day contact. Most teachers will benefit in terms of engagement from the day-to-day contact. It's just like a coach, various things. They want to have that everyday contact so you can kind of develop that synergy. And it's that synergy of relationship that is so important to learning. And so that's really what I take away from all of this. And we had a forcing function when we first went to block, and the forcing function was a CTE issue. And really it was a monetary issue that came out of that, and we had to change or lose money. And so that was one of the reasons back there. But then there's a lot of reasons to go to either side. But in terms of constant contact, the day to day, and Ms. McCary, I appreciate your question. It will be just the middle school's already prepped, ready to go for a 7-day period or 7-hour period, and so that's really nice. And we have talked about being seamless from pre-K to 12. I believe that also helps that quite a bit. So there's not that newness introduced to them. And so anyway, I just wanted to express my thanks to you and your staff, Mrs. Martin, for putting all this stuff together. And again, also you attached all the information that the board had requested and as part of the packet. And thank you so much for that as well.
I have one more question, Bob, if I may.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so the attachment was a little confusing. Can you explain a little more what lunch will look like at the high school? Because we've run into problems with that before where our cafeteria didn't have the capacity and
Yeah,
all
we're
kinds of
gonna
stuff,
we're gonna make it
so.
work where we have staggered lunches. So students, this is an example. The schedule may work out where it's backed up to fourth period. Some students are in fourth period, some students are in lunch, and then they flip flop. So we've
Okay.
checked into capacity and you know, coordinating with Art. We believe it can work seamlessly.
Because I remember the last time it was a real issue because we would have had to invest in major equipment upgrades just to make it all work. And so
I think the only thing we haven't invested in that Miss Martin wants is some more tables outside so that more kids can go outside and eat if they choose to. We're still working on that piece because of the COVID mitigation strategies and so on. But the
okay, and then I just wanted to make sure that closing campus is a separate issue because the school board has repeatedly voted to keep the high school campus open. I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that because I had a bit of a administrative changeover. So just want to make sure that that is not what we're approving today.
No, you're approving a master schedule, a master schedule of classes today. That issue will come up later. We need to see how our mitigation strategies are going to work.
Right, but
right now, we're not comfortable sending kids downtown or anywhere else because they got to come back and they've got to go through checkpoints. Every time they leave campus, they've got to go to checkpoints. And that should all be resolved by May, if not sooner, as we get more into our mitigation strategies.
right, and that's a separate issue. I just want to make sure that that's a separate issue.
Yes.
Because I don't. Okay.
Thank you for letting me
Thank
know
you.
that.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kidman. Anybody else? Okay, we do have a motion. We have a second. All in favor say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Martin. Thank you so much. The next item on the agenda, item number C, I believe, revised Page Unified School District calendar for the 2021-2022 school year. This is an action item. Need a motion in a second.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. You
Yes.
missed B is a separate item, and that's approval of the course description.
Oh, of
handbook.
course. I'm sorry.
Got the framework. Now we need the courses that are going to flow into that framework.
We need courses for the 7 period. Okay, thank you very much. I'm not real
Sorry.
familiar with I'm not familiar with education, so you'll have to bear with me. No, thank you very much for pointing that out. Don't let me get ahead of myself. Item B, Page High School course description handbook for 2021-2022. It's an action item. Motion and a second, please.
The motion
make
to
the motion.
approve the course description handbook for 2021-22 as submitted.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Kidman. So we have a motion and a second. Mrs. Martin.
Good evening again. The only thing I wanted to bring to your all's attention that we haven't already went through were the credit requirements. This is on page 11. And this was also something that Ms. Kidman had asked about. And I just wanted to make sure that as we move forward on a 7-period schedule, I know that Larry and I have been talking. I've spoken with some other teachers, and we would like to spend a bit more time, maybe between now and the next regular board meeting, looking at a viable transition to the 22 credits. And I'll share with you one bit of information. With the pandemic, I know that you guys are aware things are different. Our credit earning has not been like it has in the past. We do have some recovery plans in place that are not typically in place in a school year to address the decrease in credit earnings. But in talking with some teachers, with Mr. Wallen, we're thinking we need to study the diagram on page 11 a little bit more to see if a transition to the 22 credits should happen sooner than the class of 2025. So that was something I did want to bring to your attention. We would need to bring a portion of that back. And of course it would most likely come with the policy revision that we would be recommending, and have you all, of course, go through the process as a board.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
I just want to see if I understand correctly. So you want us to approve what's in here now, but you're also saying it might come back because we're struggling to earn credits. Kids are struggling to earn credits, and we might want to approve the 22 credit requirement much sooner. Is that what you're saying?
Possibly, yes. We do want to spend a little bit more time, as I said, maybe between now and the next board meeting, looking over, for example, would it be more equitable for our students in the class of 2024, our current freshmen, to be on the 22 credits as opposed to 23, just as an example.
So if that's the case, would this be appropriate to table until that time?
They need to continue with their scheduling. Now that we've
Okay.
built the schedule, they need to log it in. So I would say approve it with the understanding that this may get amended or revised, the graduation requirements, because we still have to revise the policy that goes
Gotcha.
with it.
All right. And that's suitable to you, Ms. Martin. That's what you've been proposing. Okay. All right. Any other questions, board members?
Yeah, I just have one recommendation. In talking to our new employee that's overseeing the JOM, he's coming with a lot of ideas, and I like what I've heard from him thus far. And my recommendation would probably get him involved in your Native American studies as part of, the course description that you have, just for his insight and his input, because I like what he's coming with. So that'd be some new ideas. Just a thought.
Yeah, no, excellent. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Okay. And board members, anything else? Okay, we do have a motion on the floor to approve the course description handbook, and with the understanding that an amendment may be coming. So all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Are we good? Okay. All right, very good. Item number C, revised Page Unified School District calendar for 2021-2022. It's an action item. Please, a motion and a second.
I make a motion to approve the calendar for 2021-22.
Thank you.
Okay, may I interrupt, please? We have two
Yes.
options before us, so we gotta make a decision on which one we're gonna approve.
I think that's going to come up in our discussion at that point, and we're going to have
Okay, so then
yeah,
just amend the motion then?
to accept what is favorable to the board.
Okay, All right, thank you.
Okay, let's do that. All right, so we have a second on that? We've got a motion. Need a second?
I'll second that motion.
Yeah, I'll
Okay, thank you.
second.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Maurer?
Good evening, Governing Board President, Governing Board members, colleagues and guests. You have in front of you two options. Option one is the calendar that had been originally approved in draft form back in February of this last year. It's been out, it's been vetted through the community, vetted through the site councils, it's been run through payroll. So it is a calendar that is ready to go, as we've done in the past. And at that meeting about a year ago, the comments were made that we seem to be creeping further and further into July and not holding deeper into the summer as the past. The committee around the calendar asked the same question, and we went ahead and informally surveyed staff about this second draft that you see, so draft number 2, which really takes and brings us, it starts us 1 week later in the school year, so it brings us back 1 week, and it brings us back into alignment in May around, I think it's Memorial Day, that's there. So it's just a shift. It shifts us by 1 week. So you have a 1 week shift calendar as well there as an option. Everything else holds true. All of the pieces around the holidays, all of the times with which employees, classified staff get hours, all of our predetermined days stay the same. It's really just a small piece at the beginning of the school year that we start and we end a week later. So that's the big piece in that calendar. That's the shift. It's number 2. And that was an option that was requested to be created and considered for you.
And by looking at this option 2, and I think I understood you that the 27th would be release and the 30th is Memorial Day?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And at the front end, does that impact activities at all?
So once we put the calendar in place, the AIA sports, we start practicing in the middle of summer. Those pieces have already been communicated with Ernie. It's not a functional change in the calendars
In that,
okay. In that respect. Those are already in and determined out.
Okay.
So really the biggest piece in option 2 is.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So the biggest.
You cut out. You're going to
So
have
the biggest. I hope there's not too much lag.
No,
I told all my kids to turn off all their devices, but there still seems to be lag. So.
Okay, it sounds good now. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, the biggest difference between the calendar is that the semesters aren't equal. That one semester has the first option, both calendars are pretty close. It's about 90 days to half a school year. The second calendar option, the difference is that the first semester has 84 days and the second semester has 96 days. So my question is mostly to the high school, if they're okay with that. And then the other question is, or historically, we've always tried to get in as many instructional days before state testing. Me personally, I prefer a later calendar, start later in August and at Memorial Day. But I just wanted to hear from the high school if they're okay with their semester being a little shorter. And then also if any of the state testing was taken into consideration or has state testing dates changed. because, you know, we've been trying for a long time to get the state to test later in the year and not so early in April.
So speaking to the state testing window, that will most likely stay about the same. They typically keep it around the same beginning parts in April with about a 3-week window. They do move things around very slightly. So I wouldn't see the state moving their calendar at that kind of level. The semester really then counts back towards the high school with regards to half credits, students coming in and out of the school, midterms, if those are there, and whether or not those are going to transition over. If I do remember back correctly to our conversation when we started this, a couple of days here and there wasn't going to be as detrimental as full weeks, right? When we had originally discussed moving the calendar kind of all the way down to starting late in August, that's when we were talking about having to come back in January, still staying in the first semester, and then moving to the second semester in mid-January. So this is it is a couple of days. It is there, but it's not substantial enough in the context of having to reissue something in January around the semester credits.
Okay, so did you calculate minutes then to make sure that we have the right minutes for credits?
So there's not a calculation that I ran for this, no ma'am.
Okay, I'm just worried because of CTE and stuff. I mean, on the first option, it's fine because we know we have 90/90. I was just wondering if we might run into some problems there that we didn't foresee.
If I remember correctly, and Terry, I know you did this calculation in a different environment, but it was 124 hours to earn 1 credit. And so if you split it between semesters, it's 60 hours a semester to earn half a credit. So with this model, it still fits that, because you'll have 84 days in the first semester, 96 in the second. As long as we're within that 60 for that half credit, then we still exceeded it in both.
Okay. All right, thank you. That answers my questions.
So if I'm understanding as well, with pushing back the end date, so graduation would be the week of the 23rd?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Board members, anything else that you see here that you'd want to have conversation on? So
what is the recommended model that people, I mean, which one is the superintendent recommending, the first or the second option?
Larry, you're muted.
Sorry, the draft second option.
So that's
Okay,
your
thank you.
recommendation to the board. Okay.
Yeah, the start date will be the 10th and the ending date will be the 24th, I believe. Sorry, will be May 27th will be the last day.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments? So with the motion stated, we would accept at this point, option 2 as the recommendation from the superintendent. So as we forward that, our motion second goes to accepting the recommended calendar, and that would be option 2. So that will be our vote. And just understand if this doesn't gain favor, then we're selecting option 1. Does that make sense, board members? Okay. So all in favor of option 2, the option 2 calendar, raise their hand, say aye. Aye. Okay, looks like unanimous, so thank you. Dr. Merrill, thank you for all the work on that. Thank you very much, appreciate that. All right, item number D, tax credit
Bob?
account. Yes, ma'am.
Can we just make one request that we make sure that this calendar that we can send that out, because the other calendar has been there for almost 2 years. So
Right.
there's probably some people who've made vacation. There are some planners out there that they are aware of the change in start dates and ending dates, so that we just kind of highlight that or send out an email or highlight it on the district website or something.
Yeah, good point.
Thank you.
Dr. Merrill, we're good with that.
Yes, ma'am. Or yes, sir. And yes, ma'am. We'll make sure we get that out far and wide. There are quite a few individuals and agencies that work from our calendar. That's why we try to get it as quickly out as possible. And Mrs. Kidman, you're exactly right that they've been working off of a calendar that had that shift in it. So we will get that out to all of them tomorrow morning as quick as possible.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, moving on to item number D, tax credit account for high school AP testing. Believe this is an action item as well. So I need a motion and a second for this.
I make a motion that we approve the creation of a tax credit for AP account.
I second that motion.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. And Ms. Vinya Warhande, you're up.
Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Wallen, we're recommending that the board approve the addition of a tax credit account for high school AP testing. This is in accordance with the publication 707 revised at the beginning of last year. So we appreciate your input and approval on this tax credit account. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Governing board, any comments or recommendations? Okay, not hearing any. I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, looks like we've got that. Next item is item number E, Paid Unified School District Governance Team Handbook. Action item. Need motion and second, please.
I make a motion to approve the revised page Unified School District's Governance Team Handbook.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you very much. Superintendent Wallen, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. This is new to me. I'm glad to see you've got such a governance handbook in place, and we need to share that with ASBA because I know there's other districts that could use that. And I really like the purpose of the governance team handbook about maintaining a unity of purpose, agreeing on and governing within the appropriate roles, creating and sustaining a positive governance structure, and creating a supportive structure for effective governance, and going on and stating the beliefs, the operating principles, putting it all together so that we know and board members know how we're working together. And you have the role of the superintendent defined and the role of the superintendent, not what the superintendent's supposed to do. And that's good. That puts it out there right in the beginning and orienting new board members and so on. It's very thorough and very complex, and that should be by your side all the time.
Okay, thank you. And noted in there is just the addition of Mr. Weiss and taking Mr. Franklin's name out. So again, all right. Any comments, questions, board members? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Item number F, revised Kane County tuition agreement for the 2020-2021 school year. And this is an action item, and need a motion and a second for this.
Make a motion to approve the revised Kane County tuition agreement for 2020-21.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you very much, Chuck. Okay, I think we've got Bindi. I think you're on it.
Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Wallen, we've submitted this revision for to remove the paragraph referenced transportation. Since 2 years ago, Kane County students were picked up and dropped off in Green Haven. So there was no they were picked up and dropped off in Green Haven. So the transportation of these kids did not cost anything to the district. So now, since they are using their own transportation method, they've requested that we remove this transportation line item from the IGA.
Okay. Board members? One thing I would like you to do, if you could, I mean, just to explain the finances a little bit, and just to make sure that this is a zero impact to our budget and various things like that.
Yes, there's no impact to our budget on this because those kids always were in the past picked up from Greenhaven to come into the district, and also now because we are not transporting the kids, there's no impact to our tuition cost.
Okay. All right. So very good. Any comments or questions, board members? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Item G, COVID update, Mr. Wallen. Okay, you got to unmute yourself, sir. Sorry.
See, I got excited about it again. February 16th, students are going to have the opportunity to return to campus. We're, again, very excited. Teachers are very excited about making that happen. You heard me talk about the mitigation strategies and the use of layering on those mitigation strategies to make it as safe as possible for everybody. Our district crisis team is in place, and each school has a crisis team to handle that site. The on-site support will still continue throughout, I think, for the rest of the year, the way I read the executive order, but we will be encouraging students to return and parents to return their students to full classrooms. There'll still be computers, there'll still be virtual learning, but we want to get as much as we can. This next quarter is going to be strong. We've got state testing coming up, and that's where we're going to determine if we're going to make an impact on that B rating or not. So we're very excited that the board is letting us do this and come back to school, and we're ready to roll.
Okay. Board members, comments or questions?
I do have a question, Superintendent Walton,
Yes,
regarding
sir.
students that live outside the community. Is the transportation of buses going to be implemented for them?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
then
they'll be riding the bus.
And so what about those that want to stay home and not attend class? Because I know you still have to have the hotspots, correct?
Correct. Hotspots and the virtual learning can still be available. And we'll still be dropping off meals for those kids in those locations that are staying home.
Okay. That was my only question.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Okay. I did have something really important that just slipped through the train station, and maybe come back in a bit, but I'll talk to you about it as a different thing because I just can't remember what it was. Okay. Future items.
I have one, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like in a work study session to discuss Abbott and our state of Abbott school-wide.
Okay, perfect. Good. Okay, anybody else? All right, as usual, if you have something, make sure and get it to Ms. Hoffman, get it to myself, and we'll make sure we get that at a future item for discussion or for motion. All right, we're at a place where we will call for adjournment. I'll need an action, actually a motion in a second.
I make a
We
motion.
adjourn.
All right, someone call that a second. We'll be good.
I
second.
second that motion.
Wow. We got to get the music teacher in so you guys can harmonize. I mean, I'm not being critical, but we got a motion. We got a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, good. And we are going to be moving into a special meeting. And so for that, we're going to take a 5-minute break and then come